welcome to another episode or another Friday afternoon with Cold Blooded. It is Friday, it is I have to check the date, the 10th of May, and we are here in the shop as normal, 12 until 5. Today's plan for Stephen is he's got this eyelet repair to do. They've been shipped to us, so we're going to get those done, and then we can get them done over the weekend and shipped back to the customer. And I've got some paperwork to be doing and getting on with, but now that everybody says we don't answer the phone, welcome to McDonald's, how may I take your order? With a headset, hopefully means I can do two things at once. So we'll try very hard, even harder, to answer all your calls. So if you see me kicking about with this on, you'll know that I'm trying to do everything at once. Anyway, tune in for more. See you soon.
So while Pam's dealing with the customers, this is a repair that has been sent in from Wayne. I think the skate's a bit knackered, so I'm going to come up with an ingenious plan. I may have a way of fixing it by using an old part of a Bauer skate, so tune in and we'll see how we get on. So guys, as you can see, what I've done is I've cleaned up the area where it was all broken, made some space for the new piece, which I have shaped. Obviously made a difference in the shape at the top because there was quite a lot of excess material, and at the bottom, so that should literally fit if I do this one-handed here. Push that back in, so that is now in place, and what I'll do is I'll sew that in place with the Speedy Stitcher so it's not going to come out, and then what I'll do is place everything back in place, place all the material back in, and then sew it in so it doesn't come out at all, and I'll get on with the time lapse for these. So here we have the final product. So we have a brand new eyelet in just here, and we have the injection molded eyelets glued and sewn into place here. And to show you the inside of the skate as well, there you go, all done. Took a wee bit of time, but it was worth it. So guys, the next repair that we have is a pair of Supreme 8000s, an old school pair of Bowers, which has been in for all new eyelets. The reason why we have a gold eyelet here is because I couldn't get the black ones in. So next on the agenda for these are a new set of holders. So something I forgot to film and record this again because we were kind of hit and miss today. We were kind of busy doing a lot of repairs. I managed to get the holders on Laura's skates as well, so they are all nice, shiny and new, ready to go. Yes, there is a bit of sarcasm in that because they are a pair of Bauer Supreme 8000s, probably from about 16 or more years ago, but they will do. They'll get around the rink, which is quite good. So they have been re-riveted, as you can see, new steels and new holders. And when I say new holders, it's new old stock holders.
These. I've only got 10 minutes to finish these off. Stop annoying me.
That's what I'm here for.
No.
So what have you been doing today?
Mostly serving customers and dealing with customers. In between that I've been updating the order book onto the Excel document I've got and not keeping track of all the back orders. Stop making faces. Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Cool. So how would you say today was in comparison to last Friday?
Slightly busier. Still nowhere near a normal Friday. At this time of the season people don't really buy equipment, they come in just for their maintenance, repairs, laces, tape, the odd bits and pieces. You don't see a lot going out the door in May or June. July, August it starts to pick up again, so yeah, not too bad. A healthy summer Friday.
Good. And what about the weather?
The weather is absolutely melting. Our greenhouse has been in effect today. First 4 feet of the shop's like an oven.
What about your biggest fan?
He's going strong.
Good. Well guys, that is the end of another week. We are on Saturday at the moment and we have had a relatively busy day for a very quiet Saturday. At this time in the season we usually find that it's not exactly the busiest on a Saturday, usually mid-month if there's football on or whatever else. Today we had an Old Firm game on. If you don't know what an Old Firm game is, go Google it. But we were in the shop today, we had plenty of Sharpmans in. We unfortunately didn't get time to record all of them because one of the guys from Stirling brought his steels through, and let's just say it would have been about 45 minutes of me cross grinding them to get the chips out of them because all 3 pairs were brutal.
Thank you very much.
Yep. So one of the things we have been hinting towards is a conversation about what happened when the fire hit. So what we'll do is we'll have a brief introduction to this and then we'll probably go for the next episode where we talk in full depth of everything that happened, and there's plenty. So Pam, talk away. What happened?
Okay, so there was a phone call made to Stephen by a friend of ours who worked with the fire brigade on a very cold and wet Sunday evening in January to say the shop was on fire. You need to get there, you need to get there now. Stephen called myself and we flew around to the shop. Stephen was there first. By the time I got there, it was out by that point, but it lay in ruins, absolute ruins. The fire had started within the close of the flats above our shop.
So for the people that don't know what a close is,
it's a block of flats. In Scotland we call it a close, where you enter from the front of the property,
giving you access
to all the properties above. Our shop didn't have we didn't think our shop had access to the close area. We always entered from the front of the shop via the shutters, and didn't think we had a doorway.
But after the fire, we found out we had
We
a magic
certainly
doorway.
did have a magic doorway after the fire. And where the magic doorway was where the fire had started, or had been started. And it gutted the back shop. We had 3 very large, heavy duty plastic racks, and we could only find 1.5.
There was £26,000 worth of sale or return products from Bauer that were getting sent back.
So obviously we lost all the stock within the store. We had some sale or return stock for Bauer, which we lost as well. We touched upon our sister partnership with Fighting Major Clothing, and Fighting Major Clothing had a substantial amount of clothing in stock within the store, which was exclusively available at Cold Blooded Sports, and we lost a lot. We weren't insured for it.
Why was the reason why we weren't insured for it?
Basically because the partnership wasn't Cold Blooded Sports, although it contained myself, it contained Stephen, and it contained other members. Because it was Fighting Major Clothing, it wasn't covered because it wasn't Cold Blooded Sports, and no matter what way we put it, they just wouldn't entertain it. We also had several members of the public skates in, which had been left in for sharpening and repair.
Which were all melted
and disappeared into the floor, literally disappeared into the floor. We had the Paisley Pirates had left us. We had a close relationship with the Paisley Pirates, or we have a close relationship with the Paisley Pirates, and they had left us some older seasons jerseys to help retail, to help them get some club funds. And we lost all of those, and again we weren't insured for them because it wasn't Cold Blooded Sports stock. We were only insured for the stock that we could provide a valid invoice for.
So what was not insured?
We weren't insured for the Fighting Major Clothing stock that we had. We weren't insured for the general public skates that we held. We weren't insured for the Paisley Pirates jerseys we were holding. Basically we were only insured for all the items we could provide a valid invoice for. Now, any ice hockey shop that you will go to in the world will have stock that's probably lay there from day one. We had items that we had from day one. By that point we were 6 years into the business with multiple hundreds of invoices. And that was my job, to wade through every single invoice and mark off in highlighter an invoice line for every single pair of laces, tape, every skates, everything, absolutely everything in the store we had to provide paperwork for. So if we go back very briefly to the night of it that it happened. So it happened on the 22nd of January 2017. It was a Sunday night, it was late, it was cold, it was wet, it was raining. We arrived on site and the fire brigade had buckled the shutter, took the door off its hinges. There was glass everywhere. The place was thick with smoke. It was black, it was sooty. The fire had started at this imaginary doorway. A certain cretin of society had decided it would be a good idea, having probably not got their fix for the evening, or maybe they did have their fix from the evening, to jam a couch in the close and set fire to it. They had been breaking into the property above for the last few weeks prior to this, and using it as a
shooting gallery,
shall we call it. It had been reported, they had been chased off a couple of times. The grass had been cut in the garden by the other tenants within the other shop.
Who had left, believe it or not, the padlock that we had bought. They asked for a key for the padlock and left the padlock off the back, so yep. There was now 2 ways of getting in.
So they were basically going to jump in the back wall, which used to have 6 foot long grass. They were now jumping the back wall and coming in via the back gate and going up into the flats that were lying empty breaking into the flats and doing their worst. Anyway, that was out with our control. We didn't have access to the close. The close was boarded up. You couldn't get in via the front door anyway. We'd never had access to the close. We'll never had access to the unit for ours. We arrived on the Sunday night to find this magical doorway at the back of the shop where the three massive racks had sat, where all our figure skates were, all our hockey boots were, all our customer collection orders, and the 3 boxes that were to go back to Bauer were piled high. Luckily, we had shipped, so we'd had a goalie event a few weeks prior to this, and luckily we had shipped the majority of the stuff back to Bauer, and we had a couple of boxes left over that was due to go on the Monday back via the courier to the suppliers, but obviously not to be. The fire brigade had literally shoveled the remains of what was our skate racks into the back garden, and it was piled about 2 feet high and had washed it all down with the water. Also, they had to remove the smouldering items out of the back shop. The ceiling was down, there was no ceiling, it was right through to the rafters in the flat above. Our baby, our machine, Stephen's other wife, was completely and utterly soaking. It had been soaked, it had been covered in soot, it was
covered in debris from the roof.
Yeah, the ceiling, the gyprock plasterboard had fallen down on top of the machine. His workstation, his back shop, everything, it was just completely and utterly ruined. All the hangers had melted, so all of the protection on the walls had dropped to the floor. All the hangers with all the t-shirts had dropped to the floor.
So this is probably the best part for me to then show and cut to.
Yeah, Stephen will show you we took a live video to show all our customers at the time, and Stephen will post that in, and we do have some images of it as well. Okay guys, here we are, surveying the damage, making the place safe, so you guys know what we're dealing with. This is where the fire started, on the outside of that wall. This was our stock room. And there is the sharpening machine, or what's left of it. That was our racks. You can see the skates there. This is all done by we think a drug addict, set a fire. This is what we're dealing with. I'm all for everybody having their problems, but this is what we're dealing with.
Guys, stand back.
The protective wrappers that was on the replacement skate blades, they had all melted, and all the skate blades had fallen onto a complete and utter pile of mess. Our computers, our television, our till, our safe, everything was right at the seat of the fire. Funnily enough, so was Toby Greig's jersey, but only a corner of it.
As you can see, they say that excrement doesn't burn, but it seems to be that is bulletproof.
He seems to be bulletproofed. So that was the Sunday night. I remember getting out the car and running around the corner, and I couldn't even, the street had been shut off and the fire engine was sitting in the middle of the street, and I couldn't even speak to the police officer who had closed the street. I just remember collapsing to my knees. I couldn't even say who I was and why I was there. And Stephen at that stage had stepped out of the shop and seen me and come over and told the police officer who I was. And we were very lucky, the fire brigade let us in to lift our order book, our singed order book and the takings from the safe, out of the safe, and we took that with us. The property then was left open. There was a police car that sat outside all night, and because it wasn't secure, but it was a scene of crime, so they had to wait on the scene of crime investigators coming to do their investigation.
The fire brigade had to do an investigation as well to see where the fire had came in, to see if it was an arson attack or if it was something, an electrical fire or what have you, but obviously they didn't find anything like that. They found that it started out with the premises and then obviously
just ate straight in.
Yep.
So we were very lucky. Your uncle, he came straight down on the night. We had Davey and Liam had come down. We had Scott had come down.
Yeah, Scott come down as well.
We had a lot come down the night of, and the next day, whilst we were waiting for access back into the premises, we didn't know when we were going to get access. I mean, I was up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't think any of us slept very well. So we got dressed. I just got dressed and I went and sat out. I got about 8 o'clock in the morning. I got my breakfast and sat outside in my own car. Scott David joined me.
I was there.
About 9 o'clock. Stephen come down for a little while. The press phoned Stephen. Ruth and Michelle turned up. Everybody turned up, and we sat across the road in the pub, and we just sat there and waited until we could get in and have a look. And when we got in and had a look is the live video that you have already seen, and we showed everybody what had happened. The next few days were absolutely devastating and terrifying, but into the picture stepped what could only be described as a hero, and that was Joe at PFA Interiors. So if you ever need a kitchen, go and look him up. His stuff is amazing. He had number 9, and he had taken on the lease of so he had 9B and he had taken on 9A, which was at that point in time lying empty, and he had been planning to knock the 2 units back into the 1 unit, because I think it had been the 1 unit in previous years, to provide an extension to his showroom. And it
was literally a 3-minute walk away from where we are, got processed, released, and came back again, and then tried to steal more stuff from the flat above us. So yep, you can tell that this is obviously a great area to be in, but obviously now we have how would I put it, more security. We've got better shutters, we've better unit, more security, so you say, better alarms, stuff like that, and obviously we have our own car parking spaces out the back, obviously for staff, and sometimes if you're nice we'll let you in. But other than that, that's a kind of brief talk on what happened with the fire and how we've managed to kind of keep going.
We forgot to mention our first baby, our second baby. He became the number 2 swap dog.
Oh, Hector. So you've probably seen Hector in the first video, the absolute embarrassment of the boxer that we have, who funnily enough has been named after the store's logo mascot. So yep, we have Hector, and Hector is absolutely brilliant.
Because what else do you do when you're in the middle of an insurance claim, you're pregnant with twins, everything's lying in ruins, but you get a boxer pup?
Yeah, you get a brand new puppy. So Hector became shop dog number 2 after he came to work with us. But Hector was really funny. As soon as anyone came through the door and the doorbell dinged, Hector thought it was playtime, and Hector wanted to play with absolutely everyone, and he would go absolutely nuts at the sound of the bell and the customers, and would try and wreck his cage, because obviously he was cage trained at the time.
Bounce his cage up and down. He would bounce up and down, his cage would bounce up and down, and then it got to the point where he couldn't, that was it, shop dog no longer.
Yeah, now Hector is how many kilos?
He's about 8 stone, and he's basically a couch hippo.
Yep.
He's 7, so he's earned his hippopotamus.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, obviously someone else that I forgot to mention as well was Will. Will came and helped as well, and that's a good segue onto one of the things that Will actually made for us. Now, we were talking about Davey, Liam's dad, who helped us out. He donated me a lot of pucks, and Will made a nice little NHL enclosure for them. Probably help if I turn the light on for you so you can actually see them a wee bit better. So just some of the NHL pucks that we have collected over the years. Not necessarily just from Davey, but it's just people that have kind of brought us things from their times away. So, yep, that was a thanks to Will as well. We haven't heard from him in a little while, so hope he's doing well.
Yep. I mean, I think when we go back to the fire and we talk about, you know, the silver lining when it all, if there was a silver lining, but we received absolutely amazing support. We received messages from our competitors, we received messages from far and wide. We had a very good friend of ours turn up with his son dressed as Fireman Sam. Shout out to Tommy and his Fireman Shitey.
The companies that basically reached out to us, one of them was Puckstop, one of them was Demon Extreme. Shout out Anne and Jason.
They all, you know, sent their condolences and well wishes, and you know, from teams far and wide, we had offers of plastering, we had offers of shop fitting, we had many offers of help, and it was very touching and very appreciated at the time. It definitely provided me with lots of tears and snotters a lot of time. It has probably been the hardest thing we've ever had to process in our life, which makes, when you go through rough periods, as you go through with every business, and right now it's rough for everybody. The cost of living crisis is really biting into a lot of people. But when you go through rough periods, it makes you so much more fiercely protective that you won't give up, and you find every which way to keep going and keep finding another way out and another way out. And we couldn't do it without our customers, we couldn't do it without the support network that we have, the friends that we have, and hopefully we will continue to do for generations to come. But we can only do it if you keep supporting us and supporting local and coming to see us and coming to get our advice and get sized and use us regularly.